This interview is just so illuminating into the thought process of Cheyenne Harris. Let's bring in our friend, civil attorney, criminal defense attorney, Reggie Garcia. So happy you're back, Reggie.
Thank you.
Okay, so this case is so troubling. It's so troubling on so many levels. This poor child was, in my opinion, basically screwed by everyone. He had no chance.
Yeah, and as a parent and particularly a grandparent of a young infant boy, I keep thinking of this and rereading this and trying to snap out of what I hope is a bad dream. But this was a real case where seemingly a 20-year-old woman took good care of her almost 2-year-old daughter, but ignored to result in his death her 4-month-old son. So I'm not a medical professional. I'm frankly just struggling with this as a parent and a grandparent more than a lawyer.
I think this is bringing out everyone's humane side more than cerebral side, this case, because it's just so hard to really analyze it from an outsider's perspective, because it is so emotional and it's the whole thing is shocking. Like, the entire fact pattern is incredibly shocking. Let's go back to some testimony from earlier today and we'll talk about it. This was the social worker, Sheila Schroeder, and this was from her testimony this morning.
When you screened Ms. Harris for her use of illegal drugs, did you ask her about her illegal drug use?
Yes, I did.
And what was her response?
It was learned through the interview that she used methamphetamine approximately 1 week before Sterling's death.
Well, that could be a reason, right? So she was using meth approximately 1 week before this baby died. Now, in my opinion, as a criminal defense person, I'm thinking if you say 1 week, you probably mean 1 hour.
Well, and before that, and in combination with that, obviously postpartum depression is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Thousands of people deal with that, not this way. But you add meth, which we now know more about that than ever. It's a very dangerous drug that does lots of bad things to your brain and your body. That still doesn't justify what happened, but maybe puts in some context that this person literally had mentally forgotten about that second bedroom down the hall and seemingly ignored, if you think about, from 9 to 14 days. I just can't get my hands around it, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the other component. So not only was she diagnosed with postpartum, but she took the antidepressants only for a few days. She said it didn't agree with her, she didn't like it, but then she still went back to marijuana and methamphetamine. So you have marijuana, you have methamphetamines, you have postpartum depression, all of this in conjunction with each other. What does it mean? That is a question I think needs to be answered by an expert for the defense.
Yeah, and again, I keep looking for something here to try and give her the benefit of the doubt, and I just can't find it. The U.S. Supreme Court said in 2000, in a Florida case, the Graham case, looking at juvenile sentencing, of course, he or she was 20, but looking at juvenile sentencing, where they've looked at the research, the medical research, that the brain doesn't really fully mature till 25.
Yes, exactly.
My wife thinks
right.
it's 55, but I think that's a different show. But in all kidding aside, that this woman's only 20, maybe fully not developed in conjunction with abusing her mind and her body with these drugs, a horrific result.
Another bombshell was dropped, okay? So it's like the bombshell of the drugs, and now there's more. And this is a combination of a few bombshells. And this was dropped by Jordan Clark, who's a co-worker of Harris's boyfriend, husband, Zachary Cohen. And this was Clark earlier today testifying.
Did you ever go into the bedroom that Cheyenne and Zach Cohen shared?
Yes.
Why'd you go in there?
Basically just to do drugs away from the little girl.
Did you ever go in the other room, the other bedroom, I should say, in that apartment?
No.
When you went in that bedroom to use drugs away from the little girl, what drugs were you using?
Meth.
How were you ingesting it?
Smoke.
Who else in that apartment was using meth with you?
Everyone.
Who is that?
Would be Zachary and Cheyenne.
So Miss Harris, the defendant, used meth?
Yes.
How did she ingest it?
And smoke as well.
Okay, so the bombshells are that everybody's smoking meth together. That gentleman also testified that he didn't even know about baby Sterling. Like, this baby was secreted in a insanely hot room, probably not fed or not changed or not checked on, right? And then he also revealed that he and Harris, the defendant, started having an affair after the baby died.
Wow. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a social scientist. This is troubling on so many levels, because I'm almost beginning to think that the mother was treating this as the unwanted child, and in her mind, this infant little boy almost did not exist, and she rationalized all this other behavior around that fake premise, if you will.
Right.
But all of it's very troubling.
I think, and I've read about this, and I've seen studies about this, and I say this, only from what I've read, but there is this almost like phenomenon of people craving intimacy, like human contact and intimacy after after a death. Maybe we can explain it that way, because it just seemed like she is compounding all of her problems. It is the postpartum on top of the drug use, on top of the neglect. It's just one thing after the other. And now she's sleeping with this guy. And just here's some more information that Clark testified to earlier today, that he, and I think this was during the trial, which is February of 2019, that he continues to write Harris while she was in jail and says he's in love with her. And yeah. So it was definitely awkward. And then when he was testifying, sometimes she was just like, oh no, please stop, please stop.
Well, and frankly, her demeanor, I saw yesterday a little bit when the first deputy who
Sure.
was on the scene, and the room smelled like urine, and was making other very important observations. She was hanging her head. She's acting and looking guilty, which is not a good thing, because jurors are seeing her nonverbal communication.
Yeah, right there. Oh, that's good. Reggie, that's a really good point. You hit it on the head. Okay, Reggie, you're sticking with me. Coming up next, the interview Cheyenne Harris gave to the investigator turns to the day baby Sterling was found dead. You'll hear more of that next.
Could someone be stealing your identity or hacking into your phone or laptop? It can actually happen from across the room or from thousands of miles away. Or a company you trust with your personal information could be breached. Your information is in more places than ever. You need more protection than ever. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company, providing an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety. New Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you identity theft protection, device security, a VPN for online privacy, and more. Cyber criminals keep looking for new ways to steal your personal information. You might not even know it until it's too late.
Someone filed my taxes under my name. $6,000 was sent to some anonymous person, some anonymous bank account.
They got into my bank account and my cell phone. What else do they have?
With threats all around, you need 360-degree protection. New Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you all-in-one protection against today's new threats.
I've got two industry leaders coming together to help protect my identity and my devices.
Why not have that added layer of protection so that you can sleep well at night?
Join now and use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year. All Norton 360 with LifeLock memberships include LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, backed by our $1 million protection package, and U.S.-based restoration specialists who will work to fix problems. Award-winning Norton device security for multiple devices. A VPN for online privacy, securing your connections whether you're on public Wi-Fi or at home, and more.
You never know where cyber threats are lurking these days. Don't wait to become a victim. Here's how to join.
New Norton 360 with LifeLock. Call 1-800-431-2264 or visit lifelock.com/mypromo. Use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year and get a free shredder with annual membership. Call now.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money. So there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-605-4381. 1-800-605-4381.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it.
Oh, this doesn't feel like memory foam.
No.
This feels amazing.
Right?
What is it?
Actually, it's called Purple, and it's a completely unique comfort technology, meticulously designed to cradle and support the human body.
Cool.
Through the holidays, buy a mattress and get a free premium gift bundle. Get yours today at purple.com/TV.
Now that I'm banking with Chime, I get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit.
Wow, I wish I was banking with Chime.
Aw, thanks.
Get paid up to 2 days early. Start banking at Chime.com.
Best Fiends. Collect JoJo and tons of other cute characters. Solve thousands of fun puzzles. Download Best Fiends for free today. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Welcome back to Court TV Live and our gavel-to-gavel coverage of Iowa versus Harris. This trial, which happened earlier this year, centers around the death of a 4-month-old baby boy. His name is Sterling Cohen. There he is. Could not be more adorable. And that little boy died from extreme neglect. His mom, Cheyenne Harris, was charged with murder in his death. Her lawyers, they blame neglect. They blame the neglect on her drug use and her mental health. Now, let's get back to the mom's interview with an investigator as they talk about the day baby Sterling was born.
So I just figured, well, I'm a little backed up. Okay. Spend all day trying to go to the bathroom. Cramps got worse and worse and worse. And I tried everything. I tried laxatives, I tried everything I could think of, and finally I tried one last time, and pushing feels not the way that it normally does. I go to stand up, and there's a bulge, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a head. So I sit back down on the toilet, scream for Zach, and he comes in, he's like, what is your problem? Because he just gotten all asleep on the couch. And I'm like, look between my legs and I'll tell you the freaking problem. He walks back out. I start bawling, thinking I'm going to have this kid in this toilet. And he comes back in all calm and composed and starts filling up the bathtub with warm water and gives me the bathtub. Yeah, and then all I could think of was, I need mom. She'd know what to do. Yeah. So I screamed at him to call mom, and he gets mom on the phone. And she starts screaming at him to call the ambulance. And I'm like, an ambulance isn't going to help. It's going to be out by then. And how I saw it was I actually had 2 heads before his body came out, because there was a huge ball of water that came out that hurt more than his actual head did. Wow. And yeah, Zach walked out to call the ambulance, and the ball of water came out while he was in there, and the rest of him came out but before he came back in, and he comes back in, and he's just laying, like, he came out in the water, and he just, eyes popped open, and he was just staring at me. Oh. And Zach threw towels on my chest, and we wrapped him up and waited for the ambulance.
Yeah. Did the ambulance then cut the umbilical cord and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Zach got to cut Nala's, but it was understandable why. The guy's house we were actually at, he had, by the time the ambulance got there, he had clamps and was heating a pair of scissors on the stove.
Really? Did he know what to do? Yeah.
I had no idea. This guy, starting at 18, he had over a dozen strokes that enabled him, and he had to completely reteach himself to walk, talk, everything. And people think he's just this idiot, but he's not stupid.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Well, that is a story in itself. Huh. So what, and that was May 1st, right then?
Mm-hmm.
About what time?
Oh, goodness. I kind of feel like a bad person for saying this, but I could not tell you. Zach could. But I have no idea. I lost so much blood in the bathtub, and then in the ambulance. After having him, the rest of the night kind of is a blur.
So then, did you come to the Cresco Hospital then by ambulance?
Yep.
Okay.
We both got packed into the ambulance. And when we got to the hospital, he wasn't in the ambulance with me. After they cut his umbilical cord, they started freaking out about me because the bathtub had actually been drained once already because I got cold. So Zach let some of the water out and we filled it. So they didn't actually know how much blood I'd lost.
Sure.
And I already had low iron. I've always had low iron problems.
Our gavel to gavel coverage of Iowa versus Harris continues at the top of the hour.
Tonight on Court TV.
All week we've been counting down the landmark moments of 2019, but tonight we look ahead to the biggest trials we're tracking for the new year.
Mr. Weinstein has a right to question his accusers.
There will be names you know and others you will soon know. Defendants accused of unthinkable crimes. Don't miss the sneak peek into the courtrooms we'll be covering in 2020.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight, starting at 6/5 Central on the all-new Court TV.
Furnace breakdown? Oh no! That could be a $3,300 bill you weren't expecting. Fridge on the fritz? That could cost you $2,500. Burst pipe? That could be $1,100. But not if you have a home warranty plan from First American. With a First American home warranty plan, when a covered appliance or system breaks, call or click. That's it. And we'll repair or replace it for you. And for most covered repairs, all you pay is a small service fee. We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month, and most come with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee.
A leak came from the ceiling. We made a call to First American. All fixed.
Everything they fixed has stayed fixed.
Why let a major system or appliance breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of trying to find trustworthy service people? Get the First American home warranty plan. And when a covered item breaks, call or click. That's it. And we'll repair or replace it for you. We're part of the First American family of companies, named one of the most trustworthy companies in America by Forbes magazine.
Saved us thousands of dollars.
Saved close to $7,000.
So we're talking $700 or $800.
So we were stoked.
Last year alone, we saved our customers over $140 million in repair and replacement costs. Don't wait until it's too late and you're stuck with a huge repair bill because your air conditioner, furnace, or fridge broke.
I feel confident, I'm safe with them, and I know they have my back.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-685-4594 or visit protectmybudget.com for a free no-obligation quote. That's 1-800-685-4594 or visit protectmybudget.com for a free no-obligation quote. Call now.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms. If you or a loved one were recently diagnosed with any form of lung cancer or mesothelioma, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Even if you smoked, your lung cancer or mesothelioma may have been a result of exposure to asbestos. And you may qualify for a cash award from the $30 billion in trust funds set aside for lung cancer and mesothelioma victims and their families. For decades, those who worked in the Navy, shipyard, mills, carpentry, firefighting, roofing, insulation, construction, and automotive industries may have unknowingly been exposed to asbestos and have an increased risk in developing lung cancer or mesothelioma. If you or a loved one were recently diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, even if your loved one has already passed, call right now. Your family still may be entitled to a cash award without ever having to go to court. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
1-800-477-0440.
Do you suffer with knee pain due to arthritis? Do you have Medicare or private insurance? Then Arthritis Knee Pain Centers have great news for you.
We're specialists in the treatment of knee and joint pain with state-of-the-art, non-surgical treatments designed to replace the cushioning in your joints.
It's enabled me to go years without knee replacement.
Call now to schedule your risk-free screening.
Call Arthritis Knee Pain Centers today.
Call 800-313-0898.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Seema Iyer. We are bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage of Iowa versus Cheyenne Harris. This is a devastating case about a mom, her baby, and the gruesome way this baby died. The trial, it took place earlier this year. It was before we even launched, but we got our Court TV cameras there to capture every moment because it is such an important story to tell. Cheyenne Harris, she is charged with first-degree murder in her infant son's death back in August of 2017. Sterling Cohen was only 4 months old when he died from malnutrition, dehydration, and severe diaper rash. Iowa Special Investigator Chris Calloway is still on the stand. The jury has been listening to his interview with the defendant, Cheyenne Harris. Let's take you back into court.
So I just figured, well, I'm a little backed up. Okay. Spend all day trying to go to the bathroom. Cramps got worse and worse and worse. And I tried everything. I tried laxatives. I tried everything I could think of. And finally, I tried one last time, and pushing feels not the way that it normally does. I go to stand up, and there's a bulge, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a head. So I sit back down on the toilet, scream for Zach, and he comes in. He's like, what is your problem? Because he just gotten all of asleep on the couch. And I'm like, look between my legs and I'll tell you the freaking problem. He walks back out. I start bawling, thinking I'm going to have this kid in this toilet. And he comes back in all calm and composed and starts filling up the bathtub with warm water and gets me in the bathtub. Yeah, and then all I could think of was, I need mom. She'd know what to do. Yeah. So I screamed at him to call mom, and he gets mom on the phone. And she starts screaming at him to call the ambulance. And I'm like, an ambulance isn't going to help. It's going to be out by then. And how I saw it was I actually had 2 heads before his body came out, because there was a huge ball of water that came out that hurt more than his actual head did. Wow. And yeah, Zach walked out to call the ambulance, and the ball of water came out while he was in there, and the rest of him came out but before he came back in, and he comes back in, and he was just laying, like, he came out in the water, and he was just, eyes popped open, and he was just staring at me. Oh. And Zach threw towels on my chest, and we wrapped him up and waited for the ambulance.
Yeah. Did the ambulance then cut the umbilical cord and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Zach got to cut Nala's, but it was understandable why. That guy's house we were actually at, he had, by the time the ambulance got there, he had clamps and was heating a pair of scissors on the stove.
Really? Did he know what to do? Yeah.
I had no idea. This guy, starting at 18, he had over a dozen strokes that enabled him, and he had to completely reteach himself to walk, talk, everything. And yeah, people think he's just this idiot, but he's not stupid.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Well, that is a story in itself. Huh. So what, and that was May 1st, right then?
Mm-hmm.
About what time?
Oh, goodness. You know, I kind of feel like a bad person for saying this, but I could not tell you. Zach could. But I have no idea. I lost so much blood in the bathtub, and then in the ambulance. After having him, the rest of the night kind of is a blur.
So then, did you come to the Cresco Hospital then by ambulance?
Yep.
Okay.
We both got packed into the ambulance. And when we got to the hospital, he wasn't in the ambulance with me. After they cut his umbilical cord, they started freaking out about me because the bathtub had actually been drained once already because I got cold. So Zach let some of the water out and we filled it. So they didn't actually know how much blood I'd lost.
Sure.
And I already had low iron. I've always had low iron problems. I don't remember if Zach took him to the hospital or he went in a separate ambulance. But we both ended up there, and we ended up in the same room eventually. And
And were you there in the hospital for about a week then?
well, we actually were transferred to Mason City that night. I had him in the afternoon, I believe. Because when we got to the hospital, he was transferred to Mason City in one ambulance in this little box thing. It wasn't actually a box. Well, I guess it kind of was. It was clear. I can't remember what the room was, but they had a bunch of monitors on him and stuff. And
Okay. Because of things that they were seeing at the Cresco Hospital?
well, there's higher risk of lung infections if he's born at home.
Okay.
But they were really concerned because he was born in a bathtub, and they thought that he had inhaled some of his own feces before he was able to get out all the way. So they were just a little concerned, and he was having he had a fast breathe, but it wasn't super worrisome, and he was cooing. He was constantly cooing. So the doctor wasn't sure if it was because he was having trouble breathing or if just because he's very talkative.
Yeah.
So they wanted to be on the safe side, and they started him on the antibiotics, and we both got transferred that night to Mason City, and he was doing really well, but they wanted to finish out the week of the antibiotics. Plus, I got 2 bags of blood pumped into me, and still at the end of the week, I ended up going home borderline. I lost a lot of blood.
You must have lost a lot of blood.
After, I lost the blood in the bathtub, but then in the ambulance, the rest of the sac is what they got the rest of it out, and I started hemorrhaging.
Okay. I'm surprised they don't have you on like an iron supplement or something to boost that.
Normally what I do is I eat chicken livers.
Mm-hmm.
But not living with my mom. Haven't really done it.
Yeah.
But I was living with my mom when I was in Louisiana I was gone, not with my mom for most of the pregnancy, so I couldn't, hey Mom, I need livers. But when I got back, she tried to make them as soon as possible, but just one meal of livers didn't do much. It was enough to get the color back in my cheeks, but
well, so after
I've been trying to get on the iron pills.
Yeah. When you returned home then from the Mason City Hospital, did you come back to Riceville to yours and Zach's house?
No.
Tell me about that. Where did you go?
I went to Mom's.
Okay.
And Zach went back to his friends.
And was that the arrangement that you had before Sterling was born?
Yep.
Okay.
When I came back, I instantly went to my mom's because, well, that was the plan. I was going to have Sterling. I was going to stay, recuperate for a couple months. Zach was going to go back after Sterling was born. And then after a couple months, me and the kids were going to fly back. But then Zach ended up coming back instead, and he stayed with his friend.
And that's the friend where you had the baby, right? Where you had Sterling? Okay. And that's in Riceville too, just a couple blocks?
Mm-hmm.
And Nala and Sterling stayed with you at your mom's house?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And while I was in the hospital, Nala actually bounced between my mom and my aunt, sister, whatever.
But they liked getting to be big sister and big aunt and grandma.
Mom had to work, so when Mom was working, she stayed with my sister, aunt, and her boyfriend. And her boyfriend, for the longest time, would not hold Nala. Was terrified. Kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to drop her. What if I break her?" But she finally got to the point where she was walking, so he was okay with holding her then, because she kind of forced it on him. She went over and tried climbing his leg one time.
Yeah, kids have a way of doing that.
Cheyenne Harris's defense attorney gave their opening statement and said that this is all to be blamed on the monster being mental health, the monster being drug abuse. So the question is now, is that enough for a defense? Let me ask my guest, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Aaron Henriksen, and civil attorney and criminal defense attorney Reggie Garcia. Okay, so all you know now is postpartum depression and recreational drug use. Is there any way, if you were representing Harris, that you could manufacture a defense that is a legal defense to first-degree murder, which would be insanity, I guess? That's it. That's insanity is the only way to go.
Unless you can spin it enough as a mitigating factor to try and get maybe a lesser included, some type of other charge. I don't know. This does not seem to be working well.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's a really good point. And I know we're almost playing like legal Jeopardy here or some kind of game about what kind of defense you could use. And they didn't file insanity notice, so I don't believe that was even considered. But if there are lesser includeds, then something like diminished capacity could work, right, Reggie?
Again, Iowa law is obviously going to control. I understand the jury is predominantly men, but there are 3 women on the jury. There's got to be some kind of sympathy factor here. I would respectfully argue abusing meth in conjunction with marijuana is a little more than probably recreational. I don't think this lady's mind was working because she was seemingly a good mother to her 20-month-old daughter and ignoring on the low end 9 to 14 days. I think an hour is neglect in some cases.
That's true. You're
Much
right.
less
when you have a
9
baby.
to 14 days, your 4-month-old son. So it has to be some sympathy play to try and get one juror, conceivably a female, but anybody, to just feel sorry for this person and think, whether it's formally insanity or not, this person clearly needs mental health treatment more than prison.
Okay, well, you guys are going to stick around because I do want to talk more about this sympathy factor and how this could work for Cheyenne Harris's defense. And up next, we'll get you back to more of defendant Harris's taped interview with the police after this.
Best Fiends. Collect JoJo and tons of other cute characters. Solve thousands of fun puzzles. Download Best Fiends for free today. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
If you're on Medicare or retiring soon, making sure you have the right Medicare coverage is important. So call United Healthcare and take advantage of a wide range of plans with a variety of benefits, including an AARP Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. It can combine Medicare Parts A and B, which is your hospital and doctor coverage, with Part D prescription drug coverage and more, all in one simple plan for a low monthly premium, or in some areas, no plan premium at all. Take advantage of primary care doctor visits, preventive dental care, and an eye exam, all for a $0 copay. Plus, earn rewards for completing other preventive care activities, like your flu shot or annual physical. You could also get over $150 in free health and wellness products. So now's the time to look at United Healthcare's variety of plans and let us help find the one that works best for you. Also ask about our PPO plans that let you see any doctor who accepts Medicare without a referral and take advantage of in-network costs, at home or traveling, when you see doctors in the United Healthcare Medicare National Network. With many of our Medicare Advantage plans, you'll have $0 copays on the most common prescriptions. In fact, our Medicare Advantage plan members saved an average of over $6,500 in 2018. And with the Renew Active Fitness program, enjoy a free gym membership and up to $115 in rewards for being active. You can count on our guidance and support to help you get the most out of your plan. We can also help you schedule appointments or find a specialist. If you're on Medicare or retiring soon, start taking advantage of all the benefits of the only Medicare Advantage plans with the AARP name. We make it easy to enroll too. So call United Healthcare or go online today.
Tuna casserole again? I'm broke.
What are you giving up to pay for car insurance? Save money with Good to Go. Get started with as little as $20 down, then pay monthly. Visit goodtogo.com and get a rate quote in under a minute. Then get cooking. That's goodtogo.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to financial compensation. If you or a loved one used Roundup weed killer and were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call the number on your screen now. The World Health Organization has designated glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup weed killer, a probable human carcinogen. Thousands of agricultural workers may have been exposed to serious health risks by using this product. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call now to find out if you qualify. If you or someone you loved used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait, there are time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 1-800-568-4852.
Welcome back to Court TV Live and our continuing coverage of Iowa versus Cheyenne Harris. The jury is still listening to this compelling interview that Harris gave to Special Investigator Chris Calloway. So without further ado, let's go back into court.
And now so that just shows my short-term memory deficit. Did you guys keep this living arrangement then?
No. It lasted for a couple more weeks, and then he ended up getting a hotel in Trail City because the guy, I don't know, he either left because he got tired of staying there or there was a problem. I'm not really sure what happened, but he ended up getting a hotel in Trail City because it was close to work. But then it got so expensive. A couple nights me and the kids stayed there with him. But it got so expensive. I mean, it was $50 a night.
Yeah.
And he didn't know how long he was going to be there because he was trying to get a loan from his boss because one of his coworkers, who's a real Mexican and is, when we first met him, he told us that he'll teach us and the kids how to speak Spanish because Zach doesn't know how. I'm like, that'd be cool, you know,
Yeah.
all getting to know some of our heritage or whatever. And but he told him that that their boss would probably be willing to give like a loan or whatever. And so I finally convinced Zach to bring it up to his boss, and yeah, he ended up giving us a loan, and we wanted a place in Charles City, but we couldn't really find anywhere around there, and he found this place, and finally he went and got it. We ended up staying, I had a run-in with my parents, well, it was my mom, and ended up staying at the hotel with him and the kids we stayed there for a week, and then from there we went to Alta Vista.
Okay. And so you've been there ever since. The things all patched up with you and your mom?
For the most part, yeah. For the first month of living there, I barely talked to her at all. But it was so weird because I'd gone from like every day talking to her, or every other day talking to her on the phone, or calling her so Nala can talk to her. So it was just weird not talking to her. And
yeah.
Finally, when I got a hold of her to take the kids one weekend because I needed a break, and when I saw her, we spent like 3 hours. I was supposed to go there to drop the kids off, grab some of my stuff, because I still have mine and the kids' stuff there, and bring it back. And I ended up being there for like 4 hours, just catching up.
Yeah, good. But Zach and Richard have not patched up their alpha arguments. Okay.
And I don't think they ever will.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
What's your rent at your new place?
$3 something?
Okay.
I think it's, I don't know. We this last month it's supposed to be $370, but we bought 2 beds from her. That were both $20 a piece, so yeah, $330 a month, which is really good.
Yeah.
Like we pay $330 and then electricity, but electricity wasn't really bad either.
And then how far a drive is that, Alta Vista to Charles City?
About 30 minutes.
Okay. So there are some commuting costs.
Yeah. Luckily the car isn't a gas guzzler. It takes $30 to fill it.
Yeah. I bet it would get fairly good gas mileage.
Mm-hmm. As long as all the tires are right.
Yeah, exactly. What other bills do you guys have? Do you have any student loans or anything outstanding?
He has loans in Riceville, though. Like, we're hardcore in debt with the bank in Riceville.
Okay.
And we're trying to slowly pay on that.
And how much are those loans, do you know?
I used to know.
Does he do the finances, or do you?
For our current place, I do, but When we lived in Riceville, I tried doing the finances with all his loans and stuff, and yeah, I couldn't keep track. Because he has a loan that he had to get one of his trucks. He has a loan that he had to get one of his bike. The bike's gone. The truck's impounded. He got a loan out to get the truck out of impound once. That's what happens when you let your cousin take your truck.
Rent, community costs, the loans from Riceville. Anything else?
Food, diapers, wipes, formula, milk, stuff like that.
Where do you do your shopping then?
I try to do it at Walmart as much as possible. Or like
Trail City?
Or Fairway. Trail City's never Walmart. Trail City has a Fairway. If I have to go to Trail City, I go to Fairway.
Okay.
But otherwise, I try to go to Walmart as much as possible.
In Mason City then? Is it in Mason City?
Well, or Waverly. He says Waverly's closer.
Okay.
But every now and then we go to Rochester because at the place we had in Riceville, up until like a month ago, we still owned it. So we had a bunch of our stuff that was there that we were trying to get time to, and a truck and trailer to go get and move into here. Like we had 3 dressers, a big TV, 3 couches, a bunch of coffee tables, 2 dining room tables, this big black chest that was supposed to be for Nala's stuff, or Nala's toys, 2 vanities, an antique bed. But he sold it, and the guy told him, no rush, don't worry, you can get it when you can. Well, I find out from my mom that she drove by and it looked like our shed, which had a thick-ass chain and padlock on it because we had somebody trying to break into it to steal. He had this, like those old-fashioned reel mowers that there's no engine. Cut grass real nice. He had one of those, and some guy kept trying to take off with it. So we chained and padlocked it. Well, she drove by and texted me. She's like, "Looks like your shed's open." And then one of his friends showed up, and I was talking about the stuff that was lost if that shed did get opened. And he goes out to his car, comes back in with one of the things that was in the shed, said he found in the back of some guy's truck. Apparently the person we sold the house to sold the shed to somebody else. We never sold the shed to him. And so Zach got a hold of him, and he's like, "Tomorrow I'm coming by to pick up the shed and the stuff in the house." And he gets a text back saying, "Day late and $1 short, half it's been burned." So we lost everything that was in there. We have our bed, the spare bed that Zach thought we could sell to somebody, a desk, the playpen, the record player, TV, just the few things that we have bought from Savers or got from friends. And that's all we have. So we've been trying to go to Savers every now and then and get some more stuff to, but other than that, well, and then the repairs to the car.
Did you hear her voice? I just want to remind you all, this interview was the day that her tiny little baby was found dead. We'll get you back into court for more of that interview right after this.
Tonight on Court TV.
All week we've been counting down the landmark moments of 2019, but tonight we look ahead to the biggest trials we're tracking for the new year.
Mr. Weinstein has a right to question his accusers.
There will be names you know and others you will soon know. Defendants accused of unthinkable crimes. Don't miss the sneak peek into the courtrooms we'll be covering in 2020.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight, starting at 6/5 Central on the all-new Court TV.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it.
You didn't need to...
Shh. Just lie down.
Oh, this doesn't feel like memory foam.
No.
This feels amazing.
Right?
What is it?
Actually, it's called Purple, and it's nothing like memory foam. It's a totally unique gel grid technology meticulously designed to cradle and support the human body. It sleeps cool, it's motion isolating, and honestly, I love it more than 2 of my 3 children.
Cool.
We loved our Purple so much, we got one for the guest bedroom. That way, when my in-laws come, they can stay in my bed and I can start.
Okay, feel that? Adapts instantly.
Honey!
Oh, hey, honey. Yeah, so just showing the guys the new purple mattress.
Sleep great through the holidays on the only mattress with the purple grid and get a free premium gift bundle. Get yours today at purple.com/TV.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one used talcum powder for routine feminine hygiene and later suffered from ovarian cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The use of talc-based powders has been linked to ovarian cancer, and many large manufacturers of talc-based products fail to properly warn women that the use of talcum powder could lead to ovarian cancer. If you were diagnosed with ovarian cancer, or if a loved one even died from ovarian cancer, talcum powder may be to blame. Call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney to determine if you may qualify. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
1-800-510-2403. Again, that's 1-800-510-2403.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money. So there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-605-4381. 1-800-605-4381.
Welcome back to our gavel-to-gavel coverage of Iowa versus Cheyenne Harris. Harris is charged with first-degree murder for starving and neglecting her infant son, Sterling Cohen. He was only 4 months old when he died back in August of 2017 from malnutrition, dehydration, and severe diaper rash. The baby weighed only 7 pounds at the time of his death, mere ounces more than he was born at. Now, still on the stand is Iowa Special Investigator Chris Calloway. The jury has been listening to this captivating interview that Calloway did with the defendant the day baby Sterling died. Listen to her voice. Let's go back into court.
We talked about Nala's health. How about Sterling? Tell me about Sterling's health.
After the week of antibiotics in the hospital, we left the hospital and he still had like a rasp, and he would come and go. For like the first month and a half, you had to have him sitting in a certain position to feed him, because he'd get so into it that he was almost like he was trying to take in more than he could at once.
Okay.
My mom said that my little brother used to do the same thing. But, like eventually that stopped and he started eating normally. And we had a problem with the formula, which we all figured he would at first. So we switched to the sensitive formula. Like he was having every time he crapped, it was straight liquid.
Okay.
And he was spitting it up a lot like Nala did, and so we switched it, and I actually had a diaper where there was no crap in it, and I was amazed.
Yeah.
But he got better after that. The sensitive formula.
When did you switch to the sensitive formula?
Well, at first we couldn't afford it, so we were just using what Rick was covering, and I was going to get him in the hospital or the doctor's office for the sensitive stuff. But after a while, we were at the apartment for like a month, and finally Zach was like, you know what, we'll just buy the sensitive formula, because I wasn't being able to get him into the doctor, just get it switched and whatever, so we just switched it ourselves and started buying it. And then the weekend one of the weekends they went and stayed with my mom. My sister was there and she bought a big thing of sensitive formula there too, so we just kept them on sensitive formula.
So tell me, like the regular, just tell me like Sterling's schedule. Feeding, sleeping, the whole works.
He normally slept, he slept, well, like a baby. He normally was able to sleep through the night with no problem.
Okay.
Especially after we switched to the sensitive formula. Before we got the playpen, I'd have him sleep either in his bouncy chair, which I guess was a bad idea, or the swing. But I did the same thing with Nala when I was living at my mom's. And every now and then I'd have her sleep next to me on the bed, but most of the time it was in the swing. But then when we got the playpen, I tried to kind of at least have him sleep on the bed next to me for a little while.
Yeah.
But
so you put the playpen in the room next to you? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I tried to keep, when Nala was awake, we tried to keep them separate. Because Sterling was I think my mom had him. Or maybe he was with a neighbor, I'm not for sure. He was with somebody else, messing around for a little while, and I had just Nala, and I was trying to set things up in the apartment, and his swing was in the kitchen. And I was unpacking stuff, so I was in and out of the kitchen, and I knew Nala was in there, just pushing it, no problem, and I heard a crash. And I go in there, and she knocked the swing over.
Ooh.
So whenever he was sleeping and she was awake, I kept them separate, so that way we didn't have to worry about that. And there were times when we were living at Mom's still, that she'd like throw toys in his direction. She did not like him. And she's a very jealous little girl. She'll throw things at me if I'm hugging Dad and she's not getting any attention. Yeah, it's bad. So just so we didn't have to, basically I was pre-planning. So that way we didn't have to worry about any incidents.
Sure.
Keep it separate. But I did get her to the point where she was starting to give him hugs, and she knew baby and Nala were different. There was a baby. I tried getting her to start saying baby brother, but she was mostly saying baby. But there was baby, and then there was Nala. And she'd give hugs, but she'd roll her eyes while she was doing it. She would not give him kisses. No, that was not allowed.
What do you think of how Harris sounds? And let's explore how she behaved the day her baby was found dead. Still with me, criminal defense attorneys Aaron Henriksen and Reggie Garcia. Okay, gentlemen, what do you think about her voice in that interview? Reggie.
She seems very detached from reality, very matter-of-fact, responding to seemingly unimportant details. I know law enforcement has their strategies to talk around lots of different things, not just what had occurred. And being a mother's the hardest job. Just ask one. But boy, that does not sound like a person whose 4-month-old infant was found dead earlier that day.
Aaron, I want you to weigh in, but first, let's listen to some sound. And this is Investigator McGrath, and this was his opinion about Harris on the day the baby was found dead.
It's my opinion that she didn't show a state of emotion. She talked to me in a normal manner, responded to my questions appropriately.
Did she appear to be impaired or under the influence in any way?
In my opinion, no, she did not.
Okay, not impaired, not under the influence. That investigator presumably responded to the scene quite soon after the 911 call was placed, and that was around 1 p.m. And of course, her interview with the police that we've been listening to was after that. But you heard it from a first responder, Aaron.
Well, the disconnect between the gravity of the situation, the demeanor that she's putting forth, it's incredible. And I think what we were talking about before with like the insanity, maybe the defense could actually use that to their benefit to say, you know, this woman's clearly out of it. She's not in her right mind. Now, what we just heard, McGrath, kind of hurts that a little bit.
Do you agree, though, with what Reggie's saying about how she sounds?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she sounds like it's just every day, right? I mean, she's so just telling the story. Yeah, just answering questions. Like, there was no even dramatic pauses. Like, most of us, when we go through a tragedy, at some point, you know, someone's talking to you, and I know that you sometimes, like, disconnect. Like, you stop responding because you're just digesting whatever tragedy you have experienced.
Even when he's talking about all these different things and talking about utility bills and rent and all this stuff, and even when he brings up the topic of Sterling, he kind of dives into it. There's no real difference in the tone of her voice or the way she's speaking. It's the same.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Okay, so now let's listen to some more sound. And this woman, this was an incredible witness, I think, for the prosecution. This is Jennifer Shriver, and this was a neighbor of Zachary and Cheyenne's, and this was her from earlier today.
She had a notebook where she left little notes on when Nala had Tylenol because she wasn't feeling well. There was instructions. They had different diaper wipes for sensitive skin, different diapers. You know, she was, step by step, pretty organized.
Pretty organized. And not only was Jennifer Shriver a neighbor, but she also at times, at least 2 times that she mentioned, in July of 2017 and early August of 2017, she babysat those kids, Nala and baby Sterling. So how do you use that fact that she was in fact a organized mom? She kept a notebook, different type of diaper wipes, different maybe feedings, medications, what have you. That's impressive.
Well, it shows the dichotomy, either because Nala, the 20-month-old daughter who was the favored child, was part of this, then we're going to do everything right. I'd like to think it was just a mother trying to do the right thing for both her children, but I still almost get a sense that the infant was the unwanted child at some point, and the mother kind of created that block in her mind, and while acting good that day, maybe other times she ignored to his obvious health detriment, not just some of the day-to-day stuff. We're not talking about an hour or two here. We're talking about neglect for 9 to 14 days, which is arguably per se criminal, and where we're at right now.
Okay, I want to continue this conversation because I do want to explore, both of you have talked about using the sympathy factor. I want to explore that, but we have to get to a break. And coming up next, we have more of that interview with Cheyenne Harris, her talking to the police the day baby Sterling was found dead.
If you're on Medicare or retiring soon, making sure you have the right Medicare coverage is important. So call United Healthcare and take advantage of a wide range of plans with a variety of benefits, including an AARP Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. It can combine Medicare Parts A and B, which is your hospital and doctor coverage, with Part D prescription drug coverage and more, all in one simple plan for a low monthly premium, or in some areas, no plan premium at all. Take advantage of primary care doctor visits, preventive dental care, and an eye exam, all for a $0 copay. Plus, earn rewards for completing other preventive care activities, like your flu shot or annual physical. You could also get over $150 in free health and wellness products. So now's the time to look at United Healthcare's variety of plans and let us help find the one that works best for you. Also ask about our PPO plans that let you see any doctor who accepts Medicare without a referral, and take advantage of in-network costs, at home or traveling, when you see doctors in the United Healthcare Medicare National Network. With many of our Medicare Advantage plans, you'll have $0 copays on the most common prescriptions. In fact, our Medicare Advantage plan members saved an average of over $6,500 in 2018. And with the Renew Active Fitness program, enjoy a free gym membership and up to $115 in rewards for being active. You can count on our guidance and support to help you get the most out of your plan. We can also help you schedule appointments or find a specialist. If you're on Medicare or retiring soon, start taking advantage of all the benefits of the only Medicare Advantage plans with the AARP name. We make it easy to enroll too. So call United Healthcare or go online today.
Joan, this is Medical Alert. We just had a fall detected. Are you okay?
Yes. I fell and hurt my ankle. I don't think I can walk home.
Okay, we've dispatched emergency services to 222 Virginia Avenue. Would you like us to call your daughter?
Yes, thank you. Accidents are scary. Thankfully, I'm protected, whether I'm alone or out with friends. I got Medical Alert.
Never worry again with Medical Alert. With GPS location services and automatic fall detection, you get emergency help even if you can't push your button. And the other guys can charge you $69 a month. That's ridiculous. That's why you need Medical Alert. Now you can get our best price ever, just $19.95. We're so sure you'll love the peace of mind you get, we guarantee it. Plus, you can wear your button in the bath or shower where you really need added protection.
I love my independence, and I don't intend to slow down anytime soon. I go bike riding, I travel all the time, and I'll always love shopping.
Call 800-800-0542 and get protected even faster with free priority processing, free shipping, and free activation. And at only $19.95, get our best price ever.
Since I got the help I needed right away when I fell, I was back on my feet in no time, doing the things I love.
Like traveling.
Call 800-800-0542 now to get the best price ever on Medical Alert. Plus, get protected even faster with free priority processing, free shipping, and free activation.
I feel safe, thanks to Medical Alert.
Call now to get our best price ever, only $19.95, so act now. Plus, you'll get free priority processing, free shipping, free activation, and free fall detection. This is a limited time offer. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Call 800-800-0542 now.
We are bringing you a heart-wrenching case out of Iowa. Our crew was there when it happened earlier this year, before we even launched. Cheyenne Renee Harris, she's charged with first-degree murder for starving and neglecting her baby, Sterling Cohen. He was just 4 months old when he died from malnutrition, dehydration, and severe diaper rash. He weighed only 7 pounds at the time of his death, merely a few ounces more than he weighed at birth. And after baby Sterling died, Harris was asked about what she was feeding him. Let's listen now to some more of her interview with Special Investigator Chris Calloway.
Normally he'd eat 4 ounces. Well, after however long of eating just 4 ounces, he'd eat 4 ounces and then you'd be able to burp him, and then he'd eat 4 more ounces and crash.
Okay. And that's that sensitive formula?
Mm-hmm.
What's the brand of that?
We started off with Similac just because that's like what WIC does.
Mm-hmm.
But then I talked to my mom, and neither one of us figured there was much difference between that and any other brand. Maybe I was wrong, but we just switched to a cheaper brand that was still sensitive.
And is that at the house now? That kind of... is that in the powder form?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where do you keep that?
There's a cabinet above the sink. That's where I keep all the baby stuff. I have like baby food still from when Nala was little, and I have extra bottles, lids, and then I have a full can of, no, I don't have a full can of that anymore. I have a can of the original Similac, not the sensitive stuff, and then I have the partial sensitive can. I was, after I got halfway through the sensitive can, I started, maybe that was a bad idea too, mixing 1 scoop of the normal and 1 scoop of the sensitive, because I needed it to last till Zach gets paid this weekend. But he didn't seem to have any
Ill effects with the mixing.
So I didn't think I tried it out, because like normally when you're switching formulas, they say to like mix it.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I've grown up knowing. So that's basically what my thought was, because I knew that if the sensitive went away, I'd have to go to the other one. So.
And did we talk about when you started, or when you switched to the sensitive? Do you have any idea on that?
About a month after we moved in. There was a couple times where I'd have to go back to the normal formula for a couple days. Mm-hmm. It didn't last until because last paycheck we weren't able to get any. So I've been trying to get a couple cans of sensitive here and there when we can get it, so that way I have it for when we can't.
But you had other leftover Similac or regular stuff, yep. Right? Yeah. I remember how that goes. You stockpile diapers and baby. Yeah.
Yeah, and I stockpile, and no matter how many times I'll get the boxes of diapers and the boxes of wipes, and we have to get more Nala wipe or diapers. Hopefully before anything closes today, but
we can figure something
because
out.
We got down to like the last diapers in the big box. It lasts me like a month. But the last paycheck, we couldn't get that. We stocked up the house with food instead.
Yeah.
And like today, we were down to 3 diapers when we left.
How many feedings would Sterling have a day?
Some days more than others. But normally it would be 3 or 4 of the 8-ounce things.
Okay. And has it always roughly been that amount, or has that increased or decreased?
It's increased.
Okay.
Like when we first brought him home, well, when we very first brought him home, it'd be we'd fill a 4-ounce bottle, and then we'd try to burp him between every ounce because he was having the problems. Most of the time, when I fed him, most of the time he'd eat at least 3. But every now and then my mom would be able to get him to eat 4 at a time.
Okay.
But that slowly increased to exactly 4, so we'd burp him between every 2 ounces.
So you would say roughly now it's 4 feedings a day of 8 ounces at a time.
Well, yeah, but the after 4 ounces, because we only had these 4-ounce minor things, we got different bottles. They actually worked way better than the other ones. But he'd eat the 4 ounces, and then I'd have to go fill up the bottle again. So I'd burp in between every 4 ounces.
We've got to get a break in, but stay with us because at the top of the hour, Cheyenne Harris talks about the details of what happened that fateful day.
Tonight on Court TV.
All week we've been counting down the landmark moments of 2019, but tonight we look ahead to the biggest trials we're tracking for the new year.
Mr. Weinstein has a right to question his accusers.
There will be names you know and others you will soon know. Defendants accused of unthinkable crimes. Don't miss the sneak peek into the courtrooms we'll be covering in 2020.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight, starting at 6/5 Central on the all-new Court TV.
Has your energy level dropped as you've gotten older?
When I was young, into my teens, and when I went into college and played college tennis, I could play all day long and never get tired, ever. As I got older, I started noticing a change in energy.
Do you have less energy than you used to?
Between trying to have a professional life and then take care of my family at the same time, it gets pretty busy.
Scientists have discovered that after you reach age 40, your body produces less vital nitric oxide than it did when you were in your 20s. With less nitric oxide, you have less energy. So how do you get your energy back? Take 1 atom of nitrogen and bond it with 1 atom of oxygen. Boom, you just created nitric oxide, the miracle molecule your body needs to help support your cardiovascular system. Now you can jumpstart your nitric oxide levels with the circulation superfood of Super Beets by Human. The science of Super Beets is based on Nobel Prize award-winning research, which recognizes nitric oxide as an important signaling molecule for cardiovascular health. Super Beets uses the dietary nitrates found in nutrient-rich beets to help your body generate more vital nitric oxide, supporting heart health, blood pressure levels, and energy.
It really has dramatic effects, not only on the athlete, but the average individual is just trying to get through the day. You just feel better, you feel more alert, and you have more energy.
1 teaspoon of Super Beets added to a few ounces of water every day can help replenish what's missing. jumpstarting your energy and supporting healthy blood pressure levels.
It's not the type of energy that you feel great for about 30 minutes and then you take a nosedive. I mean, this is sustained energy that kind of just gets you through the rest of your day.
Beets are emerging as one of nature's most powerful superfoods, but you would have to eat over 90 fresh beets to get the functional benefits found in one canister of Super Beets.
Super Beets is a real food, jam-packed with nutrients that work for you and help you feel better. You're getting this highly concentrated source of the best quality beets, and it tastes good.
Call now to find out how you can get a 30-day supply of Super Beets free with your first order. Call 888-263-7436 now to take advantage of this limited time offer.
What you've just put in your body is actually going to help you sitting at your desk for 8 hours. It's this long-lasting battery life. There's no doubt in my mind that Super Beets has changed my life.
The highly concentrated superfoods found in Super Beets helps unlock the key to better cardiovascular health, supports blood pressure levels, and helps give you more heart-healthy energy.
For a free 30-day supply of Super Beets with your first order, call 888-263-7436 now. Try Super Beets by Human. Call 888-263-7436 now.
Best Fiends. Collect JoJo and tons of other cute characters. Solve thousands of fun puzzles. Download Best Fiends for free today. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
CashNetUSA.com, man. I help when money's tight. If approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow. Ha! Ha!
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Seema Iyer. You're watching our gavel-to-gavel coverage of a murder trial, Iowa versus Cheyenne Harris. This is a devastating case about a mom, her baby, and the absolutely horrific way that little baby died. This trial, it took place earlier in the year before we even launched, but we sent our cameras there to capture the trial as it unfolded because it is such an important, compelling story to tell. This victim was only 4 months old. That's little baby Sterling Cohn. Now, the state says that he died due to extreme neglect from his parents back in August of 2017. First responders say the baby had maggots in his diapers. He had spindly little arms and hadn't been moved. Had not been moved, folks, in about 2 weeks. That's right. His mom, 22-year-old Cheyenne Renee Harris, is charged with first-degree murder, and the state says Harris purposely neglected that baby. Her defense team, though, the defense team blames the neglect on her mental health and her drug abuse. Let's get you back into court as special investigator interviewed Harris the day her baby died. Let's get you back inside.
Well, let's go back and let's go back like a full 24 hours, and so let's start from like yesterday morning. Can you run me through yesterday morning in as much detail as possible?
Okay. Well, Zach got home. And as usual, Nala was up. Because she woke up for whatever reason. And normally when she wakes up in the middle of the night, unless I get her back to bed ASAP, she ends up trying to stay up until Dad gets home. At least that's how it's been lately.
And is that what happened yesterday? Or, okay. So she woke up in the middle of, any idea what time?
Around the time I checked on Sterling last. Because then I got distracted with her. And I got her back to sleep for a short time, and then I tried doing some dishes. And And I got home. And we all went to bed. And Noah woke me up around noon and we made her food.
Okay.
And then I got her settled in the living room with a movie. And I went and laid down with Zach for a minute, and then I realized it'd been a while since I heard from Sterling.
But that's the day though, right? Are you able to remember yesterday?
He got home.
Well, we can stick with today. Yeah, so we can stick with today. So Zach gets home, and we're talking about today now. So about what time do you think he gets home today? And he would
Between 4 and 5, I think.
4 or 5 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said Nala was already up and had stayed up last night?
She'd gotten up at some point and she was fighting going back to sleep, and finally I laid down with her for a minute and I got her back to sleep for, I think she fell asleep for a half hour, and I cleaned up the kitchen some and got some dishes done, and then she woke up, and I don't know if him coming in, well, he came home, and I don't know if it was him coming in or just her smart little girl intuition, but she ended up coming running out of the bedroom because I put her to sleep on our bed because I couldn't get her to stop crying. And then he made us all grilled cheese. And we all went and lay down and slept.
Okay. Okay, so and we'll just take our time going through this. So, sometime last night, before Zach gets home, Nala gets up, and she gets up. Where is she sleeping?
She fell asleep on the couch, well, the futon in the living room,
okay,
watching a movie.
So she fell asleep on the living room futon, at some point wakes up, which in turn wakes you up. Where are you?
In the bed. In the bedroom.
Okay. So you're in the bedroom. Do you hear Nala up and around, and that wakes you up?
Oh no, she came in. I always leave the door cracked with the light in the closet on with one of the doors open so that way she can see.
Okay. So Nala comes in and wakes you up. And so you take her in, you bring her into your room and lay her down in your bed then?
Yeah, I let her climb into bed with me.
Okay. And so she hops in with you, and then you soothe her enough, eventually she goes to sleep.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
It isn't that easy.
What happens then?
Her eyes were closed. She does this thing where her eyes are closed, but she'll still like pat around for you, and she does this, like if she doesn't have a stuffed animal in bed next to her, she takes your arm, wraps it in the blanket, and cuddles that. Well, that wasn't comfortable enough, so she kept flopping around. She couldn't decide if she wanted me to lay on her arm, or her to lay on my arm, or to lay on the pillow. She didn't know if she wanted to lay on her stomach or across me. So finally, I got back up, I got her a sippy cup, And I tried laying her on the couch in the living room again. That didn't work. So I tried changing the movie. That didn't work. So I tried bringing her back into bed with me. That didn't work. So I tried the playpen. That didn't work. So I just let her go for a minute. She ended up on the couch again. That's where she fell asleep for a short time. Well, no. She ended up on the couch again. And then I knew she wasn't done being up because I could still hear her in there talking. And she ended up back into bed with me. I was playing a game on my phone. And she watched that and fell asleep. And then that's when I got up and did some dishes because I figured Zach would be home shortly.
Okay.
And then she got back up. I don't even think she was out for half hour, maybe, before he came back in and she was up. Or came home and she was up.
Kind of a night owl then, isn't she? Or an all day, all night owl.
Well, no, because then she slept till noon.
Yeah. And when I used to work the overnights, it was funny because what you felt like eating after working all night is supper. It's not breakfast. So, I mean, he's making grilled cheese for breakfast, but that's totally normal when you work nights.
I wasn't complaining.
Okay, so if I get this right, Nala was up and she had fallen asleep on the living room futon originally.
Mm-hmm.
She wakes up in the middle of the night. You do a bunch of things, eventually hoping that she's going to go back to sleep, and eventually she does fall back to sleep, and she is where when she falls back to sleep?
In bed with me.
Okay.
And then I got up to do some dishes because I didn't have to worry about her waking her up because she was on the futon. She wouldn't hear me from the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
So I cleaned up the kitchen some.
Okay.
And waited for Zach to get home.
Zach gets home, she gets up again, and Zach makes grilled cheese sandwiches. You eat, and then everybody goes to bed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what happens? What do you remember next?
She wakes me up around noon.
Where is everybody sleeping?
She was actually in the playpen right next to the bed.
Okay.
On Zach's side, of course.
And Sterling was in a different bedroom? Okay. So Nala wakes you up around noon. What happens next?
I got up and changed her diaper. Went to the bathroom myself. Fed her. And then I got her set up in the living room to watch a movie for a little bit.
What did you feed her? Do you remember?
Grilled cheese.
That's okay.
And vanilla wafers.
Okay.
Because I figured then it'd be a mix of breakfast and lunch.
You bet. Did you get her set up in the living room?
And then I went and laid down with Zach for a little bit. And I started thinking it'd been a while since I heard from Sterling. And her husband found him.
Okay.
And then went and woke up Zach.
Let's take a break from court to get a little behind the scenes information of how that interview unfolded. With me is Court TV's crime and justice reporter Julia Janae, who was at the trial at that time. So, Julia, that interview started what time and approximately how long did it go on for?
This started at 3:05 p.m. And
which
this
is
was
2 hours after the baby was found.
After police arrived on scene, right. A little less than that, really, just about hour and a half even.
Wow.
They told them to come down to the station.
Okay.
And they traveled, both Zachary Cohen and Cheyenne Harris. They went there to the police. It wasn't really the actual sheriff's department, but they made it there to the parking lot and got in the vehicle of the special agents separately, and they were interviewed. And
So Calloway did her interview.
Correct.
And who did his interview?
John Turbot.
Okay, who we saw earlier today.
Right.
Okay, so Calloway did her interview, and I believe you spoke to him at another time, one-on-one.
Right. We talked to him about his interviewing techniques. They actually train other officers on how you can get as much information as possible out of suspects, but even people who at this time is not a suspect. This is an informational interview is the way they characterize it.
And he said something very interesting to you about how he was surprised that Cheyenne Harris even spoke to him. Let's check that out.
That was something that was different than other parents that have lost. You know, they don't want to sit in my car and talk to me for an extended period of time. They want to get going. You know, either to the hospital or to be with others that they feel closer to.
Can you expound on that and the interview you had with him?
He's talking about other parents who have had a loss. A child may have died or just a family member who have died. And he says for someone to sit in a car for over 2 hours and just talk about their lives, talk about everything. I mean, she went through the whole gamut of her life, of her day-to-day, and not once does she say, I need to go home, I need to see what's going to happen with my baby's body. She doesn't say any of that.
Exactly. I would be like, you know what, dude, you want to arrest me? Arrest me in 2 hours because I need to go hunt. I need to get people. I need to do get every single person I know together, send out flyers. I have to find answers. It's remarkable. Now, you were in the courtroom when that interview was played. What was your takeaway from how her voice sounded, and what was the jury like in the courtroom listening to that? Because they had transcripts, right?
They had transcripts. It was still difficult to hear. It was dense information. It actually went over the course of 2 days in court. He was the last witness on one day and then the first witness on another. It was very long, and it was hard for them to really keep paying attention during all of that. But they were writing those notes, and you could hear her tone sounded a little more upbeat than you would expect from a grieving mom, and I'm sure those jurors noticed that as well.
It's more upbeat than I am right now on the eve of Christmas. I mean, her tone just baffles me. I mean, and even, there are points in the interview where he's asking questions about how much rent they paid and where they moved around, and she's just like boom, 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 answering all the questions.
Right. Going into details about Nala and what she does every day with her, how she sleeps, her sleep schedule, her play schedule. That was something that Agent Calloway picked up on as well, that she was being very detailed about the day-to-day life that Nala needed, her requirements, but really not getting specific about Sterling. And when they get closer to the day of the incident, which was a few hours before, she really started to get fuzzy on the details.
Okay, so what can we expect for, we're almost wrapping up court in our coverage of Iowa versus Harris for the day. But before we do, what can we expect for the trial and the next couple witnesses?
We can expect from this audio interview, you will hear the one moment that you hear what sounds like an admission from the defendant. It's about the closest that we get to an admission, because she never talks to police after this. This is the only time that we hear her talking to police and giving her side of the story. So you have to listen close for it at the end.
Oh, that's another bombshell.
But we'll also be hearing from the medical examiner and the psychologist that was hired by the defense to actually give us more context on Cheyenne Harris, who she is, and why she may have committed this.
And of course, we're all wondering whether Cheyenne Harris will take the stand. I don't know the answer. You know know the answer. You're not going to tell us, but that is what we're waiting for. But so now, at least you are telling us there is going to be a defense case. That's good news.
There is going to be a defense case. Hope I haven't given away too much.
No. You're the perfect amount of spoilers and non-spoilers. No, and it's good, Julia, because you were there. You know how important this case is on so many levels, and I'm just so glad that we can bring this to our viewers. Julia Janae, thank you so much. Okay, coming up next, we will get you back into court for more of Cheyenne Harris and what she said to the police. That's after this.
Hi, I'm Barb, and you may have heard about SoClean. It's the fast and easy way to maintain your sleep equipment. Did you know manufacturers recommend that you wash your equipment every day using soap and water? That's a lot of work and a lot of hassle. But now there's an easy option. With SoClean, all you need to do is put your sleep equipment in, close the lid, and walk away. It saves you time, it saves you hassle. Just one touch, and SoClean does all the work for you. You can try SoClean risk-free for 30 nights. Even shipping is free. Plus, when you call right now, get $50 off. Call 1-800-865-7993 or go to SoClean.com to take advantage of this risk-free trial. Call 1-800-865-7993 now. So fast, so easy, SoClean.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms. If you or a loved one were recently diagnosed with any form of lung cancer or mesothelioma, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Even if you smoked, your lung cancer or mesothelioma may have been a result of exposure to asbestos. And you may qualify for a cash award from the $30 billion in trust funds set aside for lung cancer and mesothelioma victims and their families. For decades, those who worked in the Navy, shipyard, mills, carpentry, firefighting, roofing, insulation, construction, and automotive industries may have unknowingly been exposed to asbestos and have an increased risk in developing lung cancer or mesothelioma. If you or a loved one were recently diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, even if your loved one has already passed, call right now. Your family still may be entitled to a cash award without ever having to go to court. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
1-800-477-0440.
Tonight on Court TV.
All week, we've been counting down the landmark moments of 2019, but tonight, we look ahead to the biggest trials we're tracking for the new year.
Mr. Weinstein has a right to question his accusers.
There will be names you know and others you will soon know. Defendants accused of unthinkable crimes. Don't miss the sneak peek into the courtrooms we'll be covering in 2020.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight, starting at 6/5 Central on the all-new Court TV.
Do you suffer with knee pain due to arthritis? Do you have Medicare or private insurance? Then Arthritis Knee Pain Centers have great news for you.
We're specialists in the treatment of knee and joint pain with state-of-the-art, non-surgical treatments designed to replace the cushioning in your joints.
It's enabled me to go years without knee replacement.
Call now to schedule your risk-free screening.
Call Arthritis Knee Pain Centers today.
Call 800-313-0898.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. There may be time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 800-549-6270. That's 800-549-6270.
Welcome back to our gavel-to-gavel coverage of Iowa versus Cheyenne Harris. Now, in court, the jury has been listening to Cheyenne Harris's taped interview with the police. Let's go back inside.
And I apologize because I haven't been at your house or your place, so I don't know. Where was Sterling?
In the next bedroom in the suite.
Okay. Was the swing turned on?
Not at the time, because after a while it shuts off. Normally I have it playing or moving on a slow motion with a little mobile, and it plays music too.
Okay. So Sterling was in the swing, but the swing wasn't moving at that point. Okay. When you found Sterling, did you take him out of the swing, or is he still in the swing?
He was still in the swing.
Okay. And when you get Zach, then what happens after you get Zach?
After some freaking out and having no idea what to do or say, he called the ambulance. An hour.
And I know you had people in and out of your house. Who calls the ambulance? Okay. What they found, is that pretty much what you saw when you went in? Okay. In the last, so say it's 5 o'clock now, 5:12 now. How much sleep have you had in the last 24 hours?
I woke up at noon after that. Before Noah woke up last night, he'd been asleep for like a half hour. Maybe an hour, and then she woke me up, and I stayed up till Zach got home, because it wasn't long before that I'd gotten Noah to sleep.
Yeah.
And then we both went to sleep, and she woke me up at noon.
What time do you guys think, after the grilled cheese breakfast, about what time did you go to bed then?
5-ish maybe?
Okay. So 5 to 7, or 5, I should say, until about noon, should be about 7, and then maybe another half hour. Do you remember putting Sterling in the swing? Well, Sterling, you found Sterling in the swing. Do you remember putting him in there when that happened? Do you remember? Tell me about that.
Well, I had gotten him a bottle and changed him, and Noah was up, and I could hear her pounding on the door. So I put him back in the swing and gave him the bottle. And turned it on and went to see what she wanted.
So is that part of the separation, keeping those two separated? Is that he's in his own bedroom, Sterling's in his bedroom, and
Plus, Nala has really bad, Zach gets hot really easy, and so does Nala. So we have the AC on a lot. But Sterling, he's small, so he gets colder easy.
Sure.
And so every room has its own little dial thing.
Okay.
For the heater.
Okay.
So it's easier to keep him warm.
Does he stay pretty much in that bedroom then? Is that kind of his area? That bedroom that Sterling is in? Okay. What time would that have been? Around what time would that have been when you got him the bottle and changed him? And then Nala started knocking on the door.
I've been like wanting to say like when it was starting to get dark. But when you asked me about yesterday, like I'm honestly not sure what time. Like after everything that's happened, and all I can think about is that.
Yeah. Well, and you're juggling a ton of stuff. I mean, on a lot of things going on. Was it before Zach went to work?
I think.
Okay, let's take a break from talking about Cheyenne Harris and talk about Zachary Cohen. What was he doing during all of this? Criminal defense attorneys Aaron Henriksen, Reggie Garcia are still with me. So, Zachary Cohen they were arrested at the same time. He went to trial in December of 2018, was found guilty first-degree murder. Okay, now in the big picture, I want the two of you to consider what role does he have in this trial, if any, and how? Okay, that's a lot to digest for the two of you. All right, let's go back into court and show, this is the neighbor, Jennifer Shriver, and she testified how she saw Zachary Cohen just moments after he found little baby Sterling dead.
What was Mr. Cohen doing?
He was outside smoking a cigarette.
Did that upset you?
A little bit. Yeah, I told him, I said, if your baby's gone, I said, have you called anybody? Have you called 911 or anything? He's like, we don't know what to do. I was like, well, you need to put your cigarette down and you should probably go inside and call 911.
And this is coming from the voice of reason, who just got out of the hospital and was outside also smoking a cigarette. So if she's telling you what to do, I think you should follow it. Okay, so Zachary Cohen's position, and he testified at trial. He says that, I guess he discovered the baby, he tried to call, but he couldn't get a cell signal. And then he goes outside and instead decides to smoke it out. And then she says, you have to try and call. And then he calls, and then he sounds, according to witnesses, it sounds very calm on the call. So that's part one. Thoughts?
I believe I read that they both had 8th grade education. He was driving a truck, got in the wee hours of the morning, was sleeping earlier that day.
That's right. I think they only had dinner like the night before at 3 a.m. That's right.
I don't know that either of them were models of good parenthood, but of the two, he seemed to have, at least at that point, be a little more tuned in. I don't know whether he was in shock. This is apparently a very small community.
Yes, only 300 people.
They had recently moved there, as some would describe, quote unquote, on the run. Again, if you find a 4-month-old, a 4-year-old, a 40-year-old
Yeah,
dead,
exactly.
you run to the phone, you run outside, you yell and scream. If your phone's not working, you borrow a phone, you do something. You know, instincts take over. So it's inexplicable, like most of the case.
Okay, now you mentioned on the run. We have actually that sound as well. And this is, again, the neighbor, Jennifer Shriver, mentioning something. I believe this is Cheyenne Harris said to her.
They were talking about funeral arrangements and some stuff like that. And at some point she had looked at me and Zach and said, it seems like everybody's pointing their finger at me. And I agreed with her. That's exactly what it seemed like to me. Like everybody was pointing their finger at her.
And what did she say in response to your statement?
At that time, she kind of winged her arm out over to Zach and said, I told you we should have taken Noah, Leo, and ran.
Taken them and ran. Okay, so I want you to take that information and couple it with there was at least speculation that the Zachary and Cheyenne moved to the small town of only 300 or 400 people because he was on the run for something else. Plus, there's more. Plus, the police, in fact, suspected Zachary of being involved with gang activity, but there was no proof of that. So this is something that Julia Janae just uncovered from her reporting.
I mean, there's just an utter disconnect from reality for both of these individuals. All of this plays bad. There's not a good piece of evidence to spin for the defense in this case. Zach is clearly, the response on the phone call, the 911 call is horrible. All of his behavior is horrible.
But can you use Zach? Can you plan B Zach?
I think if I were representing the
Cheyenne,
mom,
yeah.
I would throw Zach under the bus for sure. He's the one I think that's kind of led her into the meth use and arguing, trying to argue that this woman was completely incapable of being a mother. She was overburdened. The cop was talking about her juggling all these million things and she just couldn't keep up. She's using meth, staying up and then crashing. She's down for 2 or 3 days probably, if you could maybe spin something like that. And unfortunately there's neglect, but neglect is better than first-degree murder.
But right, and Reggie, even though, okay, so the police suspected that Zachary Cohen may be involved with gang activity. You as a defense attorney can call whatever police officer that suspected him of that and have him articulate it. They didn't use it on the prosecution's case because perhaps they did not have enough evidence for it to be appropriate for a prosecution case. But on a defense case, there's no burden. So you could call that witness and have him or her testify that these are the reasons. And what at least the officers told Julia Janae, our crime and justice reporter, was that it is in their expertise. So the cops always come and say, okay, in my skill and expertise and training, I believe that X, Y, and Z. Have him come up and say, yeah, I think this guy's a gang member. Explain the moving around. Explain that he was the one who found the baby. I mean, you could put together a plan B from this.
Well, and if her lawyers do that as a desperation Hail Mary, does he then, who presumably has some appellate points for his own conviction, become a cooperating witness with the government?
That's what I'm thinking.
And flip on her? Most states have something called interspousal immunity where they can't be forced to do that, but I think one person can do that over the objection of another. Time will tell.
And okay, so just really quick, can you tell me, would you at all consider using Zachary as it would be a prosecution, a defense witness? Under subpoena.
That'd be tough to have him on direct. To use him under direct, I'm not sure how I would use him, because I would maybe argue the level of fear with the gang membership, and maybe you're arguing maybe that's why mom didn't do something and go to the police sooner than neglecting the child because she was in fear.
But just to be clear, as a prosecutor, just want to wrap this up. So as a prosecutor, if you call him, then if he was convicted in December of 2018, he would just be pending sentence, maybe give him a deal, flip him, make him testify, right? Okay.
I could see that.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate your input. We will continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage of Iowa versus Harris tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And up next, we'll bring you the latest developments in the biggest legal story on the planet, the impeachment of President Donald Trump.